guys. So before I begin, disclaimer, this video is going to be a little bit more relevant to you if you are of the melaninated variety. If you're not, then you're more than welcome to still watch the video and chime in and interact with things. Just this is something that hits a little bit harder home for me because I am a brown girl, and I will be discussing this from the perspective of a brown girl in a brown girl community, or brown community. So let me jump into that, tell you guys a story. So today's Monday. I don't do well with Mondays because Sundays are my chill day. I do family stuff, etc. And so if on Sundays I don't do my prep stuff for the week, then my Mondays are hectic. So yesterday I did not do my prep stuff. So today I was rushing like crazy this morning. I got up like an hour and a half later than usual, which means I was running about an hour behind getting to work. I got, dressed, ironed clothes, washed bottles, fixed milk, fixed lunch, all that good stuff. So I get in the car. In addition to the fact that it's a Monday, it's not just any Monday, it's a Monday in September. And September is that transition month where it goes from being hot in the day and hot in the evening to being hot in the day and then cool in the evening. And when it's cool, the air pressure drops, meaning your tire pressure drops. So where during the day, my tires were on their recommended 32 PSI, I get in the car this morning and they're at like 20 something, which is not good. So thankfully there's a gas station that's within like 0.2 of a mile of the house on the way to the interstate. So I go to the gas station to put in some air in my tires. So I get done with the first two tires, my left tires, and proceed to start pulling out the cord to pull it to extend it to the right side of my car. And there's this big white SUV that pulls up behind me. It's a guy and a girl, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just rush real fast so that they can get their air too. Instead of them staying in the car, the guy gets out of the car. Black male, probably like mid-30s, early 30s or so, comes up and says, hey, I got it from here. You can go back in your car and chill out. I'll finish it. So I'm like, thank you, sir. Okay. So he proceeds to start filling up my right two tires. Now, mind you, I know how to fill my tires up. My daddy made sure that when I left the house, I knew how to do basic car maintenance. So I had done a really good job on my first two with my handy dandy silver tire air gauge, and gotten them to, where they were supposed to be within a couple of minutes. It didn't take long. So I get back in my car as the guy is proceeding to start filling up my tires. And a few minutes passed and I'm like, bruh, I gotta go. Like, I can finish this myself. Okay, bruh, you know what you're doing? All right, it's taking a little while. So he finishes after about 15 minutes. It's cool, it's cool. I appreciate the gesture. I'm not gonna rush. I'm already an hour late for work. What's another 15 minutes? No problem. Not only does it take him 15 minutes to fill up two of my tires, it also alarmed me a bit that he's like, okay, you're good to go. Your tires are on 42 PSI. 42. I'm like, thank you. But in my mind, I was like, bro, what? You can't let me leave with 42 PSI in my tire. That's dangerous. I could pop my tires on the interstate. The recommended is 32 PSI. You would have known that if you looked in the door. It's written right there. You could have asked me. I could have told you. That's not safe. Like, that is dangerous. But I appreciate the gesture again, so I didn't challenge him on that or anything. I just very slowly and very cautiously creeped out the gas station parking lot back to my apartment to let some of that air out and check the tire pressure myself. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to call out about that when I was thinking about this over the course of the day. First thing was kudos to bruh, because it's really nice to see particularly Black men reaching out to help Black women and any chivalrous act, small or large. I appreciate that. It was nice. Also, kudos to Shawty in the car, because I'm another, I think, somewhat attractive Black woman, and she let her man get out the car to help me with my car. I thought that was really nice of her. Instead of being like, you ain't her man, you stay in your car and deal with me, she was gracious enough to be like, yeah, babe, go on and help her. That's cool. That's community. That's unity. I'm with it. That's awesome. The other thing for me at a very high, conceptual level, I'm probably overthinking this, but the things that came to mind were the negotiation between my identity, and I'm generalizing to all Black women, the larger Black woman identity of being independent, an independent Black woman, how we negotiate that role when it comes time to reconcile that with the responsibility of a man who wants to be and is stepping into that leadership head of household, or in this case stranger who wants to help me role, when he does not do or execute one of the responsibilities of that role as well as I do. Let me reiterate that. I, as a Black female, independent Black female, have learned how to handle certain things very well on my own. Why are you biting my finger? So how do I navigate being very adept at a lot of things, including things that probably get into the responsibilities that a male could be handling for me? How do I navigate being really good at those things when a male comes into the picture who wants to do those things for me but doesn't do them as well as I do, or as I have learned to do? That's kind of tough. And it's kind of tough, and I see it as a very relevant problem, or I guess issue kind of circumstance right now, because a couple of things. Feminism is one thing where a part of that has been female empowerment and us understanding that we can do everything that men can do, have the capabilities to get stuff done too. And the way that might encroach on what is probably a man's place or his ability to provide. That's one thing. The other reason why context of this matters is because of the come up, I guess, of Black women. One thing I saw on Facebook recently, there was this article out that was promoted by Upworthy that references a study that shows that Black women now are the most educated demographic, gender, and racially across the board. And you can pull up the study because there's, depending on how you want to qualify most educated, you can agree or disagree with that. I haven't fully digested that article yet to see whether or not I like it, but they just go by percentage of individuals enrolled in college at the time, and Black women have 9.7% of their population enrolled in college. So based on that, they say Black women are the most educated. But considering female empowerment, our understanding that we can do everything that men can do, or rather that we don't need to live dependent on men to make ends meet and to get basic things handled, and the fact that Black women are the most educated demographic, this problem of, or the circumstance of, a Black woman having learned how to take care of herself very adeptly, facing or coming into contact with a Black man who might not execute certain things as well as she does, is gonna be a common occurrence, in my opinion. That and larger context of the Black community, whether you want to disagree with it or agree with it or not, our community statistically has a lot more, or rather, has a higher prevalence of lack of Black leadership, masculine leadership in particular. So Black women historically, whether independent, whether directly, me directly, or having learned from other people, have learned that we have to be able to take care of ourselves. We have to get ish done. For the sake of ourselves, our own well-being, the well-being of our children, etc. We need to, when it hits rock bottom, be able to lug everything on our own shoulders. So we learn to really educate ourselves, do things well, take care of ourselves, be skilled in a lot of different things, including car maintenance, for example, whatever. So all three of those things, education, feminism, and then the lack of Black masculine leadership and what that means for Black women's responsibilities, are producing this dynamic where you have Black women who are Miss Independent, and then Black men who might not be able to execute the leadership role as effectively or efficiently as Black women do. How do you navigate that? In that instance, I didn't know dude, and it wasn't something that was going to be a long-term thing, so I felt no need to correct him or to step in and tell him, move over, I got it. I didn't feel the need to do that, especially in front of his wife, girlfriend, whatever, and whatever kids are there, presumably in the car. I'm not going to embarrass him. I appreciated the chivalry of it. I appreciated the gesture. So I decided to just let him finish and then mosey on back over to my apartment and correct it a little bit. He would never know that I corrected it. And, you know, it's win-win. He gets his good guy points for the day. His wife gets to pat him on the back. His children look at him adoringly and admiringly. And, I don't know, I get my tires filled. I don't know. But when it's something a little bit more impactful, where it is your own spouse or it is a person that you're dating, how do you navigate the fact that because I've done it, I can probably do it a little bit better than you can, or I do it the way that I want it done as a Black independent woman. I've been doing it myself for so long. I need you to do it the way I want it done. How do you navigate that? That's interesting. And I'm not sure. I don't have answers for it so much as I have questions. It's not so much of a problem for myself and my husband. We have a really good group, actually. I'm really surprised because I'm a very type A person and my husband is very much an alpha male. And sometimes I do things more effectively than he does, and then there's obviously those things that he does more effectively than I do. And I've had to learn, both of us in this first year of marriage, we're now going on year 2, learn how to play to each other's strengths and learn how to step back and let the other person handle something that they're leading in. And particularly for me, because he is head of household and because I know my words can be sharp sometimes, I've had to learn how to be tactful and respectful. And he's respectful and tactful of me too. It's different when the level of the criticism, the direction of the criticism is going from the person who's in a subordinate role as a wife up to the person who's in a leadership role. I have to really navigate that with some tact and some respect. But we've learned kind of that and continue to learn how to do that and are in a pretty good groove. And I'm grateful for that, because with my personality and his personality, that could really be a minefield. And I think one thing that I think helps us do that really well is both of us have a really good understanding of biblically what a marriage is supposed to look like as far as the roles and the responsibility piece of it. I talked about this in another video where I discuss me wanting to nag my husband about things. And this actually is relevant because there is that stereotype about Black women who are so independent that they can't let a man lead and who nag their man, etc., etc. And I think that that dynamic I just talked about, where you have Black women who've had to learn how to do it on their own, and then they are encountered with a Black man, can breed grounds for that contention. And it's a hard role to step out of once you've done it for so long for yourself. The thing that has helped for my husband and I that I did the other video on is we did marriage counseling prior to getting married for a good few months or so, and we have really good examples around us of Black families, of Black marriages, and how they do their roles. What I'm seeing is a lot of the families that are really successful in that base their structure on a biblical structure, where the man is ultimately head of household and he's the leader who is ultimately responsible to God for what happens in that household. That does not mean he's a dictator. That does not mean he makes decisions in a silo, but it means that he wisely listens to the advice of his helpmate, his wife, and makes decisions accordingly, because he knows, hey, God's gonna get me if I'm selfish and if I'm stupid and I don't listen to wisdom and I make a decision that I want to make just because I want to make it. So he listens. But the other half of that, and I think the more difficult part of that for women, is the fact that God placed us in this position as helpmates, but put us in a position where we are subordinate to the person who's ultimately responsible. So I'm like, God, why would you make it so that you're like, hey, you know, Candace's husband or this person needs a helpmate, so I'm going to create Candace for him, but Candace is going to be subordinate to him. I'm in the position to help this person, but I know it don't make no sense. I mean, it does make sense. Sorry, God. You know, it's not a good fleshy way to look at it. You have to look at it biblically, where I am his helpmate. I'm supposed to scan the situation and give him advice and give him wisdom, and it would behoove him to listen to me and very heavily weigh what I have to say about things, because God put me in the situation to provide advice. So I think that when we look at that dynamic between Black men and Black women, and the Black men who want to support them and step into that head of household role for them, we need to compare it with and try really quickly and efficiently to get into the biblical structure. That's going to mitigate some of the potential for those contention areas. You can't have two leaders in things. And so I know it's more difficult, and that's why I say this is a racially relevant video, because it is more difficult when you as a community, not just you individually, but your community has a long-standing history of a lack of Black male leadership. And there's that void there that women have conditioned themselves and learned how to fill and have done it well in your community. And so just slipping into a biblical, you know, structure of marriage where the wife is subordinate to the husband and he has final say on things, and he has, you know, makes decisions, you know, himself, kind of, is very difficult to do considering your community's history. So I'm not sure what I wanted to say about that, except for that it was an interesting occurrence to me, and it was a very small example of the many ways and many times that as a independent Black woman, I've had to learn how to step back and let a man lead. But I was thinking about that today. So I'd be really interested to see what you guys' thoughts are on that, whether or not you are an independent Black woman, whether or not you are a woman or independent or Black, you know, whatever your thoughts are, drop them in the comments. I really want to see. Also, share the video, like it, that'll help me. Subscribe to the channel because I try to post stuff like this pretty often. And while you're on there, you may as well go ahead and look at the rest of our videos. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video. If you would, go ahead and like the video, leave us a comment, share the video, and while you're at it, subscribe to MD Soul TV. See you next time.